Live from WBFF in Baltimore, this is Fox 45 Morning News.
Good morning to you. It is 10:30 and you're looking live over the harbor. The sun is out and it looks like a gorgeous start to your work week. Thanks for being with us this Sunday. I'm Taylor. It is April 16th. I'm Taylor Stewart. Let's get over to your forecast. Meteorologist Amy Aronson. Tell us about it. At least see a lot of yellow over there.
Yeah, warming up and warming up fast. Thanks to all that sunshine we're seeing. We're in the low to mid 70s right now. This is pretty much where we ended yesterday. So today's going to be noticeably warmer again with highs headed back into the 80s. We're mostly dry today. It looks like our chance for rain will hold off until later this evening and tonight. So that's good news if you have anything to do outside. But showers and storms will rush through tonight, and that's going to lead us into a dry but a cooler day tomorrow. So Monday, we're back to where we should be for April with highs back in the mid and upper 60s. Now, coming up in just about 10 minutes, I'll walk you through the timeline for the storms tonight and let you know exactly how long that brief cool down is expected to last. Taylor?
We're starting off with some breaking news this morning out of Alabama. 4 people are dead, more than 20 others injured in a mass shooting. It happened last night around 10:30 outside of a Montgomery, Alabama dance center. Now, witnesses say the shooting occurred at a dance studio, possibly during a birthday party for a teenager. As of now, we have no word on the cause of this shooting or if a suspect or shooter is in custody.
Let's be very clear. 12-year-olds should not be shot. But 12-year-olds shouldn't live in a place or anywhere, especially in this country where people who clearly shouldn't have the access to have assault rifles. Think about how you would feel if this was your 12-year-old son or your little cousin or your brother. This is something that nobody should experience, especially our young people.
Now, this morning in a city in crisis, 1 teenager is dead. Another person is recovering after being shot within hours of each other. The 12-year-old who was shot just before 9 o'clock last night in South Baltimore was taken to the hospital. He later died. Now, less than 2 hours before that, a man was shot in Northeast Baltimore. Police say an unknown car pulled up behind him and began shooting. The victim was taken to the hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. Now, as the violence continues in Baltimore, many are questioning how police can keep city streets safe. Vincent Hill spoke to a law enforcement expert and a former city prosecutor. Both of them have different opinions on how to bring back or whether to bring back a controversial tactic to get guns off city streets.
Juvenile gun violence plaguing the streets of Baltimore.
Where are they getting these guns from?
9 juveniles shot and killed and 28 shot and injured so far this year. That equals 1 juvenile shot every 3 days.
I mean, every time you turn around, somebody's child got shot.
Including the double shooting of 2 teens shot at the Inner Harbor Easter Sunday.
As our officers were removing that arrested suspect away from the fight, a discharging occurred
just feet away from Baltimore police officers. The gathering posted on social media with threats and concerns for violence, leaving many wondering if stop and frisk should be brought back to Baltimore.
I think stop and frisk should absolutely be reinstated immediately, yesterday.
Law enforcement analyst Melissa Pickleton believes stop and frisk is a valuable tool in policing.
It is a prevention to many crimes.
Pointing to the previous disturbance at the Inner Harbor, 3 days before the 2 teens were shot.
They had the crowd the weekend before, another crowd. Now you see this, all of this commentary and information on social media. It's a combination of things, and that 100% would have been a valid Terry stop.
That advice leads to how departments face class action lawsuits and how they get sued.
Former Baltimore City prosecutor Jeremy Eldridge says otherwise.
A social media post from 2 days ago are inspecific. Simply a large gathering of juveniles is an insufficient reason for the officers to violate everyone's constitutional rights by simply patting everybody down.
Eldridge says units like the Gun Trace Task Force abused the legality of the stop and frisk, leading to changes in the Baltimore Police Department.
In Baltimore City, we had the consent decree, which put some real limitations on the way that the police or Baltimore City Police Department was supposed to be enforcing the stop and frisk mentality.
Eldridge believes only one factor should ever lead to a stop and frisk.
If there is information that a certain individual is armed or involved in criminality, that will give rise to the reasonable articulable suspicion that lends to that Terry pat-down.
That brings us to our question of the day. Do you think stop and frisk should be reinstated given the recent violence in Baltimore? So far, 94% of voters say yes. You can weigh in right now at foxbaltimore.com/vote. Now, despite the proposed ways some think that the city's streets need to be kept safe, the Baltimore Police Department is nearly 500 officers short. Fox 45's Rebecca Pryor spoke to a law enforcement expert about that. Despite recruitment and retention efforts, why the department is still struggling to get more officers on board.
As crime continues to touch nearly every corner of the city. On Wednesday, a federal judge overseeing police reform in Baltimore calling the city's officer shortage a crisis. Despite increasing salaries to the highest in the state and boosting a slew of benefits, the department's vacancies dropping from 400 officers short to nearly 500 officers short over the last 8 months.
We can make sure we have good recruitment incentives, good retention incentives. And we have those. What we have to do is also make sure we have good working conditions.
According to Commissioner Michael Harrison, that includes retrofitting police stations, enhancing crime-fighting technologies, and putting officers in new cars. All improvements former Deputy Commissioner Jason Johnson says miss the mark.
I think the biggest thing that's plaguing the recruitment effort in Baltimore is really the actions of the public officials themselves, failing to support the men and women of law enforcement.
According to Johnson, from the actions of city to state leaders, those pledging to protect our streets feel under attack. Last year, Maryland lawmakers stripping away officers' Bill of Rights, setting stricter rules for how police are investigated and disciplined, a measure then Governor Larry Hogan vetoed but was eventually overruled. And although she's no longer in office, Johnson says many officers still scarred by the 8-year tenure of former city state's attorney Marilyn Mosby, who reached national prominence for pursuing criminal charges against police.
It's going to be a very difficult and painful legacy for law enforcement in Baltimore to get beyond.
They are not pro-police.
Law enforcement expert Maury Richards agrees, saying the support officers are in search of isn't financial. And while a shortage of officers is a problem plaguing departments across the nation,
I've studied departments, big departments all across the country. And I would say Baltimore, in terms of shortage and in terms of morale, is about at the bottom of the country.
And so it has got to be turned around, or we really are going to run into a crisis, and it's not too far off.
Rebecca Pryor, Fox 45 News.
All right, now to Baltimore County and the county police with the NAACP. They're teaming up for the Kingdom Worship in Towson. They held a gun buyback event. The first of its kind in Baltimore County. People were allowed to bring their guns to the church, receive money, and then police would destroy those guns if they weren't found to be involved in criminal activity. Organizers say the mission of police and faith leaders sometimes goes hand in hand. All gun submissions were recorded as anonymous. The legal fight continues over abortion rights almost a year after Roe v. Wade was repealed. The latest state to ban abortions with now the most strict outline in the U.S.
And most of today is going to be dry, sunny, and warm, but rain chances return tonight with our next weather maker. Looks like most of the showers will hold off until this evening. I've got an updated look at the timeline of the showers and storms and what it means for our temperatures this week in just a couple of minutes. It's 10:38. You're watching Fox 45 Morning News.
Nearly a year after Roe v. Wade was repealed, a legal fight over abortion, well, it's still playing out. Earlier this month, a district judge in Texas issued a ruling that would suspend FDA approval of the pill, which has been on the market for more than 20 years. Another judge in Washington state ruling to protect access in 17 states. Several Democratic-controlled states are now stockpiling abortion pills in the case of future restrictions. Some Republicans feel it is a dangerous campaign strategy to attack abortion ahead of 2024.
I think it's a terrible message for the Republican primary. I really do. I think it hurts us in the general election. I think there are much more pressing issues, if you will.
This is one of the issues that it's just you can't give an inch. These are human beings.
Now, Supreme Court says it would decide on this issue as soon as Wednesday. Now, this week, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis signed off on one of the most restrictive abortion bans in the country. It bans abortion after 6 weeks. Protesters voiced their displeasure with the decision during his speech.
You gotta have a little spice in the speech, right? I mean, you gotta have a little fun.
Now, you can see two women yelling Jews against DeSantis as security guards usher them off stage to the cheers of the crowd. DeSantis' 6-week ban would not apply in cases of rape or incest or if the mother's life is in danger. Download that Fox 45 News app for your up-to-the-minute conditions for traffic, school closings, breaking news, and weather anytime. Just search WBFF in your app store. And still to come this morning, Elon Musk is creating a new company. This time he's diving into AI. What all of this entails for the tech giant. And the power of sports on full display in Towson. One superfan's compelling bond with her favorite team in this morning's Maryland moment. You're watching Fox 45 Morning News, all local, all morning. All right, the power of sports can be a beautiful thing. Players, coaches, and teams all making an impact on their community. But what about the other way around? Morgan Adsit shares how one Towson superfan is inspiring the athletes on her favorite teams in Maryland's moment right now.
3 minutes on you.
One thing is clear with this basketball program.
I appreciate you, dog.
Everyone plays an important role.
Next one, Mariah's favorite, inchworm to Cobra.
Feeling that connection makes everyone feel invested.
Here we go.
Coaches, players, managers, athletic trainers, you name it.
Ready and go.
And it takes them all to build this team.
I see you, Gabby.
It's how Laura Harper leads the Tigers in her first season at Towson.
Last one.
And I think it just buys into the overall championship energy.
No teammate is more important than another.
Ellie!
Well, maybe one.
The first time Ellie came into the gym, she walked in like she owned the place.
She makes me really happy when I do get to see her.
Whether it's practice or game day, her presence fuels her team.
She's just always been like our sunshine during practice. In games, we always hear her. She's always cheering for us.
Nothing does that more than these high fives.
Can I get a double? But it's great. It just fills you up with joy.
Meet Towson women's basketball superfan, Ellie.
She talks about, you know, the team, the coaches, not just something that she's here and then it's over, on to the next thing. You know, they really have impacted her life.
Ellie does this all from the sideline, unable to play the game she loves.
Even though she can't run as fast as they can or jump up and, you know, score the basket like they can, she, I think, feels it through her body.
The 25-year-old Baltimore County native,
You got the ball. Good job, Ellie.
is multi-disabled, nonverbal. Ellie signs and uses an iPad to communicate. None of this predicted to be her life until after birth.
The doctor that delivered Ellie and performed the C-section, she immediately thought that there was a concern.
Once home post-delivery, it didn't take long for Ellie's mother, Karen Smith, to realize that doctor was right.
She wasn't looking at me. We weren't making eye contact. The connection wasn't forming.
Ellie also didn't hit the same milestones her older sister Carly did. Ellie's parents knew then they needed help, answers, and a plan.
I kind of knew in my heart of hearts, and so did my husband, that this was going to be a lifelong situation.
After years of support and care for Ellie, the Smith family leaned into one of Ellie's passions, sports, and her favorite, basketball.
She loves sports and to participate, but she prefers to observe them.
Ellie's love for the game started from watching on TV to joining her uncle's AAU team, which led her to Towson.
You know, I think it was the first or second game that she came to, because she sits behind the bench with a sign typically. I would come out of timeouts, high five Ellie, see her cheering for us, and I'm like, Ellie, this is what I need, this energy.
A relationship that extends far beyond wins and losses on the court.
She was probably 6 or 7 before she really started smiling. And now that's like the greatest joy. Is like as soon as you walk in and you see Ellie smile, she just, you know, she lights up a room.
It's transformed into something players and coaches get far more out of than Ellie.
Anytime she's in the crowd, we like, nah, now we got to really whoop the other team, because we got to make Ellie proud.
She's their inspiration, a constant reminder to have perspective.
There's a level of appreciation and gratitude of life, and just realizing how much joy she's able to have.
She's also bailed out her team a time or two.
Oh my goodness, one time we were in film and I was ripping the team. Like, they were just getting on my last nerves. And I guess Ellie was outside, like literally, and I hear her laughing. And I'm just like, y'all are so lucky Ellie's coming in right now, because I can't be mad anymore.
While no official diagnosis, Ellie is one of 5 people in the world with her genetic makeup.
So they don't know enough to know whether this is actually what caused her disability.
An incredibly difficult life journey for Ellie and her family that comes with challenges. Ellie and her family refuse to let her disabilities dictate life.
And my mom passed away while I was pregnant with Ellie. So I didn't have that support there. So I didn't have a mother to help teach me what it was like to be a mother. So I will say to all of you young moms out there, you know, continue to have faith. Don't ever let anyone put a ceiling on anything. You know, we were given so many ceilings that were so low. She's living proof that she's able to just do so much. I'm so proud of her. Am I proud of you?
Proud of what Ellie's life is today and what it will be tomorrow.
We want her to be as independent as she possibly can and have a community around her, have a community that she loves and that loves her.
Part of that community is with her Towson basketball family.
Bingo, bingo! And if we can play as free as Ellie lives her life, you just feel like we can do anything.
The Tigers' year ended in March as conference champions and in the first round of the WNIT. So now they wait.
Oh yeah, it's Ellie's gym.
For next season.
She knows her chair's gonna be over here.
And Towson.
Together!
I'm Morgan Adsit.
You can watch more of Morgan's conversation with Ellie and the Towson women's basketball team right now at FOX45.com. One thing we're watching for is those temperatures today. Meteorologist Amy Aronson let us know what we're working with.
Yeah, hello summer again, right? This warm trend is continuing today. We're warming up quick. We've got the sunshine. Now we've got the 70s. 65 still in Annapolis, closer to the water there. They've got the wind coming off the water, so a little cooler, but everybody else nice and warm at this hour. And we are going to warm up today before our next weather maker gets here. That's this cold front. Skinny line of showers showing up along that now. That's going to continue to travel our direction and reach us later tonight. So it's got a lot of ways to travel before it gets here. And future scan shows we're mostly dry. Low 80s. That's where we're headed by lunchtime. Mid 80s this afternoon. Then we get some showers showing up. Future scan showing that happening around 5 o'clock. So if you have plans this evening, be prepared for scattered showers during that time frame. Rain will continue overnight. So scattered showers, even some storms to about 11 o'clock. Things should wrap up around midnight. We're dry again for your Monday morning drive. We're in the mid-50s to start. It will be a cloudy and a cooler day tomorrow and breezy. Plus, we could see some showers on the back side of the system Monday evening. Temperatures will then continue to cool down through Tuesday. Because of the storms coming through later tonight, we are included in a marginal risk for severe weather. That's the dark green here on the map. That is the lowest on the threat level scale at the top of the screen, but it means any storm that manages to fire up or develop later will have the capability to produce some damaging wind gusts, kind of like what we saw yesterday. The good news is most of your Sunday is dry and sunny and warm, perfect for all your outdoor plans. We've got high temperatures headed into the upper 70s and low 80s today. Tonight after sunset, that's our prime time for some showers and some storms to develop. So it's later this evening with temperatures in the mild low 70s at that point. Unfortunately, the rain, not enough to help us out with these pollen problems. Pollen problems continue today, maple, oak, and ash. So be prepared if you're going to spend time outside for that. Looks like pollen levels will unfortunately stay pretty high Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, too. We do get a little break from the warm temperatures Monday into Tuesday, with temperatures cooling off back through the 60s. 70s are back midweek, and then the low 80s again will follow on Thursday. Middle of the week is mostly dry, so after tonight's rain chance, we dry things out. Bright and sunny Tuesday and Wednesday. A new weather maker will move in by the end of the week. Another shot at some April showers with that. Temperatures will stay warm, though. Low 80s through Friday and then mid-70s by next Saturday. Taylor?
All right, topping your consumer news, billionaire Elon Musk is forming an artificial intelligence company. Musk made the filing for his new company, X.AI, earlier this month in Nevada, with himself listed as the sole director. So far, the company has authorized the sale of 100 million shares of stock. This comes at a time where the makers of ChatGPT have become the dominant name for emerging technology. Musk raised eyebrows this week when he said AI can be potentially destructive to civilization, and he's urged a pause of 6 months minimum in AI training systems. Now, meanwhile, the Federal Aviation Administration approved the launch for SpaceX Starship rocket. Takeoff set for 8 a.m. Eastern Monday morning in South Texas. And it'll have a 2.5-hour launch window. From Texas, it'll fly over parts of Florida and then circle the Earth before touching down off the coast of Hawaii. NASA selected the SpaceX Starship as the ship it would send astronauts to the moon on. In 2021, SpaceX won that $2.9 billion contract to build the rocket. Elsewhere in your consumer news, retail sales took a turn for the worse last month. That is according to new data from the Commerce Department, which saw retail sales drop 1% from February. Gas sales saw the biggest drop off, with stations recording a 5.5% drop in sales. And the slump is mostly attributed to nearly 2 years of high inflation, as well as the Federal Reserve's campaign to crush price pressure with a series of interest rate hikes. Well, today we're on our way to the 80s, well on our way. Coming up, meteorologist Amy Aronson is going to join us here at the desk with a look at the 10-day forecast and the next weather maker, when that could arrive.